All right, let me know if you guys can hear me. Give me a little thumbs up if you can hear me okay. But doing a little bit live because the news broke. Dylan Beavers finally getting the call up to Baltimore here. How you doing? Gosh, I never wear a hat either right now, but my hair is a mess. Um, but yeah, want to talk about it. So if you guys can hear me, though, let me know. Give me a thumbs up. It'd be great. Thumbs up, thumbs down. If you guys can hear me, thumbs up. Beautiful, Joe. Good seeing you. So the news broke, right? So Beavers, the Beef Show's coming up to Baltimore. Um, I'm happy for him, man. It felt like a long time coming. Of course, it's always on days and times when you think that it's not as I don't want to say convenient, but that's the sports world and the business. They make moves whenever they make the moves here, and whammy, they rock and roll. It was funny, yeah. I saw Joe that that Bali Zach was trying to go live in a like McDonald's parking lot. Good kid, man. I don't know if I would have had that in me to do that, but he did it, and the show goes on. He might join in a little bit, but just kind of discuss this, right? So Dylan Beavers, the Orioles, one of their top prospects, gets caught up, and we understand the timing of this. August 15th was the day. We're back. Can you guys still hear me? Maybe. Um, but rookie eligibility is can you guys not hear me now? Oh, we're all good now. Okay, perfect. Um, so rookie eligibility, as you guys saw, if they're a part of those two prospect lists, so there's three prospect publications out there, right? So it is, I think ESPN, Baseball America, and MLB Pipeline, I think are the three. You got to be on the top 102 of the three to have a chance to get one of those picks if you're rookie of the year in 2026. Not that, it's still the long shot, but if you have a chance, I understand the business side of it. But hey, he's coming up. He's going to get the chance. And what I love is, above everything, you got to give guys the opportunities that earned it and deserved it. And when you have guys in your system that earn those chances, you should reward them. And because when you don't, then they're going to sit there and that frustration can build. But it's kind of a perfect storm, actually, for the guys that get called up here from now on, or even the guys on the team, because the pressure's off from going out there and trying to compete for a playoff spot. And now you're really just trying to figure out how to be a big league guy. So, like Kobe Mayo getting fair running the bigs. How about Brandon Young going out there and doing a little, hey, how you do? Hey, how you doing? Flirting with the perfect game. And of course, it's always on some play where the ball's not smoked, and Ramon Arias has that swinging bunt that's perfectly placed, and Brandon sped up his body. And I'll be honest, if he set his feet, probably makes a good throw there, and it's bang bang. I think he has a chance to get him out, but because he was off balance, they're going to rule that a hit 10 times out of 10 because the pitcher never was in control of making the play. So he loses the perfect game and the no hitter on the same thing, but that was sensational. And then factor in he grew up an hour and a half from where the Astros play. Like it was a really cool moment. So a lot of these guys, though, like Brandon Young, Kobe Mayo, and now Dylan Beavers, you're coming up there and you're having the opportunity to just go play ball. And for Beavers, look, the Orioles need outfielders. They got to figure out who's in this equation going into 2026. And Beavers had his best professional year at the highest level in the minor leagues, hitting over 300, flirting with 20 home runs. Not there yet, but I know he's flirting with it. And then he's got over 20 bags. So he can run, he can make an impact, and now he's going to the big leagues to see what he can do for the last month and a half of the season. So it's a really great opportunity and well-deserved on top of it. So I'm really, really excited. If you guys are new to the channel, though, as always, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We're doing a little impromptu here, just a little bit, just to talk about all this and some baseball talk. I apologize. You can blame me for not being available the other days, and but Zach filling in and Kevin They were doing their thing. Don't worry, be back in the equation. We're going to try to get our fall schedule right with football coming up here. Baseball will always be our backbone, but we cover a hell of a lot of football here. You guys know that. So we're getting ramped up for that. But this is about Dylan Beavers. This is about the Baltimore Orioles and what's happening around Major League Baseball a little bit right now. So this chance for the team is, it's kind of funny, actually. Or shouldn't say chance. Think about what's happening right now. The Orioles have now won 3 in a row. They've beaten some really good teams, maybe just the AL West in general. Played a really good series against Seattle where you could have won all 3. You won the first one in Houston. I tell people this team is not far off. It's been a rough year for many reasons, but a lot of them injuries do not help. But I'm not making the excuse for injuries because everyone has them. The bigger part is they weren't fundamentally executing well enough. Brandon Young yesterday, what was so good about what he did was, I know he worked on that slider, was adding that into the equation, and he was able to mix and match and locate. Brandon Young had to locate in the minors because he wasn't throwing 96, 97. I know the velo was up yesterday, but he had to learn to pitch. So he knows how to pitch. So that was really great to see. But the Orioles fundamentally are playing cleaner baseball. And when your starting pitching gets off to a good start and you make less mental mistakes throughout the game, and also you cash in situationally, get some sac flies, do the little things, you're going to have a chance to win more games, which they have. Like I wouldn't be surprised here if the Orioles ended up finishing at 500 or right above it, not because this team roster-wise was better on paper, but that young guys figure some things out, and also they just clean up the little things. The little things, God, you guys could hear me go on and on about the little things. But enough about me here. Let's see what some questions, or I saw with where was I going on this? I'll go back for this, and Adit, thank you, by the way, channel members, shirts and pants, appreciate it. Ryan, how close were you in the minors to be a part of a perfect game thrown from a teammate? I never was a part or that close to a perfect game, but I was in Double-A when Michael Bauman, shout out Big Bow, threw a no-hitter in Double-A for the then Bowie Bay Sox, and that was electric. And Bauman is, as you guys know, is one of my best friends. And Mike was throwing 98, 99 in the 9th inning. I still swear by that he should have stayed as a starting pitcher. He was actually the most ready starting pitcher at the time to help the Birds. And then he had a little injury during COVID, tried to find his footing, obviously got up to the bigs as more of a reliever than a starter. But he was untouchable for a certain point in time. And I thought it could have worked out differently if he was a starter. But that moment there was the closest thing I had. And we played the Washington Nationals Double-A team, the Harrisburg Senators, and it was just it was so cool to watch on so many angles here. So, yeah, Big Bow, man, throwing 99 in the 9th. Hey, how you doing? Grace, I see you here. This team's so close yet so far away. And, this is the reality for any team is when you look around, it's not about the talent that you necessarily have or don't have. And I want to rephrase maybe how I'm wording that. The biggest thing is when you have more talent, you can have more room for error because your talent can let you get away with more issues. So, for instance, in 2024 to start the year, the Orioles team was so talented, having Corbin Burns obviously at the top of the rotation. Then you had Grayson and Kyle Bradish when he came back, and your offense was humming. But then when the injuries mounted and they started to add up, you lose some of that talent. And then if you don't play fundamentally, your room for error then gets less and less. So going to this year where they were going to be a little bit stressed in the pitching department, so they didn't pitch as well there, so you have less room for error, but then they didn't play clean baseball, so then you're really going against the grain. The Cleveland Guardians might be my best example here. I would say Cleveland has a talented team, but they are not one of the most talented teams. I mean, Stephen Kwan is a stud. Jose Ramirez. They have good pieces, but the sum of their parts, why it works so well, is that they know what they need to do to win, and that's why they're staying in this thing. Like, if you're looking at the teams in the American League and that wild card, the Yankees are a better team. Like, as far as talent wise, Yankees have more talent on their team, but they're not doing the little things. You guys watch them on a day-to-day basis. Their fundamentals are not good. They're not good, but they have talent. Mariners, the Red Sox, better talented teams. Cleveland, with Steven Vogt as their manager, they get the most out of what they need to do. They are down Clase. Their starting pitching has been up and down, and here they are still scratching and clawing. So give a lot of credit to the Guardians, but that's the example. So for the Orioles, they clean some things up. Their young guys get some confidence. They should be right back to where they want to be in 26. I'd argue then you hope that you're even closer to your goals, because now you're letting your farm develop. So we'll see. And Joe, Mike is not a starter overseas. He's in the pen. He's been dealing with some injuries over there in Japan. But again, that was just me. Now I think the role is he's going to be a closer, or not closer, but a reliever moving forward. It's an interesting situation, but you know what? Yes, I would have loved to see him as a starter, because he was my teammate every year as a starter, and he was really damn good. Really, really damn good. I know a lot of questions are going to be the questions are going to be around when's then Samuel Basayo coming up here. And for Judd, Fabian, Bryce, I don't know when that circumstance is going to be. I think there might have to be another injury for Judd to get a chance, or maybe we see him in September. I honestly don't know at this point in time. But for Sam, I can say this. I mean, it's coming here. I don't know. His timeline's different than Dylan, because for Dylan, you need outfielders. He's a little bit older than Sam. And for Sam, with these younger guys, you don't have to rush. Adley's back. Austin Jackson's done his thing. I know the bat's ready. The bat is ready. But you don't have to rush this process. Now, I do say it is very important that Sam gets up to the bigs and gets X amount of at-bats, because my thought process is that this dude's going to be ready to play the full year next year. And in my opinion, but they got to decide, is he going to be the second catching option? Is he going to play first base, DH? What's that rotation? You're not bringing him up to not get his at-bats. But for Beavers, you're looking at the outfield right now. It's depleted. It's been banged up. Quite frankly, he's earned the right to see what he's going to do. And I think that's the fun part of what's going to happen here with Beavers is, you got to figure out if you want him to be on your squad here in 26. And if not, the other part of it is the business. You're showcasing what he can do if you're not going to bring him onto your team next year. Except I think Beavers has some of that Kyle Tucker in him, that type of swing path, where it sometimes can seem not like fully unconventional, but it's not like the sexy swing, but it's a damn good swing. And it produces results. So I'm really excited, but I love the fact that right now there's no pressure. And I think in the last couple of years, when the prospects have come up, they've kind of dealt with, we got to win, and you're trying to figure out how to be a big leaguer, and that infrastructure wasn't there to really help guys handle that as well. So I think for Dylan, it's a good opportunity, really good opportunity, and one that he's really earned. And yes, I am wearing a hat, Brooke. Shout out to BMW Championship. Did some work with them this past week, and I'm only wearing this because I'm inside and my hair. You know what? Does this look good to you guys? I mean, it kind of looks good. It's kind of like that, kind of disheveled. Could look better, could look worse look. But I was feeling it. We had the little Carolina blue, got some Carolina blue Tar Heel connections overall. Brian, Rip, I'm not superstitious, but I'll tell you, when the commentators keep throwing around the perfect word, something's going to happen. What happened to the cardinal rule of keeping it quiet? For me, I don't like saying it out loud. You're right. I'm superstitious as hell. I do the same thing a couple times. Then if it works, it's only crazy if it doesn't work. And if it's not, you move on to something else. But, is it really stopping the results? No. But, I that's just kind of what you grew up with, or what I grew up with as well. I don't blame anyone if they say it, but I am not going to be the one to say it. I'm not going to be the one that's going to go down there and make a comment. And going back to Mike Bauman's no-hitter, none of us said anything in the dugout. It was just kind of sitting there like, like it's the seventh inning. Oh, wow, it's the eighth. Hey, we're winning this game. Like we worded it there. You knew that what we were kind of referencing, but we never said the word. And also, I stayed the hell away from Mike. Like I would just stare, I'd stare down, and then give it like a, and then keep walking. So, and he was locked in. He was dialed in for that night, no doubt about it. Grant, who do you think is the current leader for the O's? Westy? I think you're going to find out more down the stretch. I think Westy has definitely been one that players and people have gravitated towards, because Westy kind of, says it how it is. It's very blunt in the process. I think a lot of people resonate with Westy's style of play too. So I don't know exactly who is going to be deemed that at the moment. I think he'd definitely be one of the ones that people would look towards. And that's something that this core as a whole, they're so close knit, and they're such good friends. But now you got to figure out, how do you then help this next wave of guys come in, and how do you create the buffer of, hey, we're friends, but we also got to go out there and the accountability, the responsibility, and then you got to go out and execute at the end of the day. So I think that'll be interesting to see. Dog Adley, I think, is more of a guy that wants to lead by example than necessarily like he's going to sit down and have the conversation with you. I think his play has more value than anything else. If he does well, I think that raises the level of confidence on the team. That's where I kind of view that whole situation. And again, once again, guys, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe. Do this live every, right now it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That might be changing here for football season. Sorry I missed you guys on Tuesday and Thursday. But this is a little like Q&A, talking some ball just for a little bit, because then the move. Dylan Beavers got called up, which is great to see. But I want to answer some of your thoughts and questions as we kind of move into the rest of the weekend and the week. And I got to say, that looks good. I'm actually rocking the two schools I rep with color-wise. The Buffs, my sister and brother-in-law are Buffs, still live out there. Colorado, baby. We're rooting for them for the football season. And, Maryland, and Boise State is the other one. Brother-in-law's from Boise. Love you, Cam. And, yeah, rocking the hat. Joe, I don't know when the right time will be to talk about everything with Heston. And I really don't know all the answers there. But I am concerned, and it's not from the sense if Heston is healthy, I have no doubt in my mind the type of hitter he can be. I've seen it. I've watched it. I've studied it. I think there's a lot more that's going into all of this. And, I don't want to even overstep and speculate too much, but I have certain speculations and ideas of where things are. And the biggest thing is where's he at mentally? But then the other part is physically, how is he? And he's in a way different that situation that he's had to deal with coming into the professional baseball ranks is something a lot of guys never have to deal with. And that's something he has to continue to battle. So we'll see what happens. The more and more we'll talk about it down the road. But if he is right, just like we saw Kyle Stowers went off and is balling somewhere else, Heston has that ability as a hitter to just hit the ball out to any part of the ballpark. He's a really special left-handed bat. Obviously, mentally, he got a little bit fried with how things were going, but a lot of the Orioles hitters did down the stretch. Matt, is Tyler Wells coming up this year and be the closer? I don't know what they're going to do with Wells. Part of me thinks whatever. I think Tyler likes the idea of starting, but to be honest, I think whatever you want him to be, you just got to commit to him doing it so he can prepare going into 26. He's got that bulldog FU mentality where he's going to go out there and get it done. So I like him in a bullpen role. Like, I know he can do it. We've seen it. I think the biggest part for the rest of this year, though, is just he just needs to be healthy. Get healthy, feel good, and then establish what you want his role to be going into next year. Because he's valuable and he knows how to pitch. Because he doesn't throw gas, but he's got a good changeup, mixes pitches well, and I think he can be helpful there. So. Yeah, I know, Chris. 1/3 of those numbers, those are rookie numbers. I had to get those up. Don't worry. I'll be back. Some things happened and things came up. One of those, you guys, I don't think you're going to hate the end result of why I missed one of those days. Holy Shirts and Pants members, you'll find out a little bit more about that upcoming. So that'll be fun as we move closer to that. I had to do a little bit of this stuff with BMW, which is great. I always love when Baltimore has some great events that come their way, and best golfers in the world. It was a really cool experience. So yes, hand up, guilty. My bad for missing some time. We're going to handle that internally. Fines will be handed out in the right manner. So don't you guys worry about all of that. And thank you, Laurie. I mean, my hair can look, however. I mean, it's not, you guys know. I mean, I want to look good, but at the same time, who really cares, right? Who really cares? Well, some people care. Let's see. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, actually, this is this is a good talk right here. Mouse talk. How we doing? Please, O's fan, let's not crucify him if he starts slowly, like almost every other prospect has been called up. How about we keep the Wolves at bay until he gets about 500 at bats? I mean, this is the biggest thing for all prospects, and this is why I think people understanding when you get called up to the big leagues, there is such a jump, and not everyone's development to figure it out is going to be the same. And even once you figure it out, it's how do you do it the next year and the next year after. I hear the one story that Chipper Jones says. He actually said, my dad told him this, but Chipper said, Calvin came up to him and said, "Hey, congrats on a great start to your career, because now the real work begins." So for the guys that if you get by that time where you come up and have success, what's your encore? How do you continue to battle? Because the best of the best still are going to go through the struggles because every year is going to change. And when you're a young player, oh, hi, Ollie. Ollie made an appearance here for a second. Mr. Puppy, we're doing something. Okay, hold on. No, you come here. No, come on. Come on. You want to come back in? Or you want your ball? He just wants this. Go ahead. Good boy. Good boy. He wanted his ball. But where I was going with this is everyone has different ways that they got to develop. Really? He just keeps knocking the door open. Hey, buddy. Oh, he's killing me. Come here. You want to come say hi? Come here. Let's say hi real quick. Come on. Come on. Come say hi. Ready? 3, 2. Oh, there he is. There he is. Say hi. Okay. Dylan Beavers got called up. Orioles are fine. They're back, buddy. They're not going to lose another game. That's what they're saying. All right. You're a good boy. All right. It's a little heavier than I thought he was. Maybe you need to hold off on some of the treats. But overall, players are going to take time, and what they are to start their career doesn't mean what they're going to be down the road. And this is why I was saying for a guy like Dylan Beavers and other prospects, there is no pressure. Like, seriously, there shouldn't be any pressure because the Orioles, unlike the last 2 years, they're not expected to make this dramatic comeback. They just need to develop. This is actually, I think, this is not what I wanted or anything to happen, right? I want the Orioles to compete, and every fan wants their team to compete. But I think the fact because the Orioles jumped up so quickly a year or two in advance, that stopped the growth of some guys being able to go out and just struggle. Because those guys didn't get those opportunities, and that kind of created this situation where some guys were losing confidence, or you trade them away, and et cetera. So for Beavers, though, talented guy, great skill set. He's riding the high of this year. But really for me is how does he look to finish this year? And then also, what do you learn from this year? Because it's not going to mean anything if you go into next year and can't try to get on the right track. So does Beavers have a shot? To be honest, to me, the business side is going to say, if there's a chance you do this, for me in general, I would have just called him up. I would have just called him up just because I think the development side is so important, but I don't blame any front office because this isn't just the Orioles, right? A lot of teams would consider this. If they're saying there's a good chance you could have 2 chances to get a Rookie of the Year. Yeah, I mean, I would consider that. Now, if the Orioles were in the hunt and right on the brink, you throw all that aside and you bring up your best guys available to help you in that moment. But I don't really know what that. It's always interesting to me how different publications, how they view players on what they look at. And by the way, just because you're high on a publication or prospect list doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to end up being the next best player of all time. Obviously it helps give an indication of who they think has talent, but doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to go to where they want to go. And yeah. Oh, yeah. And also, thank you guys for the ones for putting songs out for my Friday playlist. Electric, a lot to choose from. And I'm sorry again. Yesterday, we were supposed to do our Adam Sandler movies. We'll get that back on track. And actually, I just saw Big Daddy on last night. I don't know if you guys are watching it. It's a good movie. I feel like the Adam Sandler movies almost, they can pull at your heartstrings more with some moments. So like at the end of Big Daddy, when he has to give Julian back, and you're upset, okay. The father-son moments, but we're not here to talk about all that, are we? Are we? And yes, Goldens are the best. We need more Ollie. And maybe I do need to get back in the gym, maybe we can do a competition. That's the one thing that's interesting on this show is the disrespect that happens from some of the co-hosts on what I can and can't do anymore. Like your boy's not, when I retired from playing professionally, doesn't mean your guy can't go out there and battle out there. Not the strongest in the weight room, but I ain't that as bad as you think I am either. So, and no, Joe, I never cracked top 100 in any list. I mean, because I stunk it up and injured quite a bit. But I will say in 2019, I was a part of like the organizational all-stars. So I think for first base or DH, I got in 2019, I was an organizational all-star by I think MLB.com or MLB Pipeline. So that was cool. I really felt like I was starting to figure things out in 19. Then COVID happened and had a little injury. And then I talk about the mental side. I really struggled to keep my mind right when I wasn't playing as much. And that's just the way it goes. I tell people sometimes I feel like it's like with everything, right? You wish you could take your skills that and then be able to apply that to the next stage of what you're doing. Sometimes it's easier to articulate and explain it than it is to go out there and perform, because you need to be able to compartmentalize and go out there and do it. So I like to think of myself as a guy that knows a lot about the game, spent a lot of time in it, have family that's been involved with it for years, see it from a different perspective, but being able to take out the emotion while you play, that's the biggest part. And that's also why when you hear some guys that become coaches, why they maybe not have been the best player, they know how to get the most to their team and their players and to help that development. And some of the best players of all time might not be the best communicators, because it's sometimes hard to replicate what they did because they were so special and one of one, that sometimes it's hard for players to be able to explain that fully. The biggest thing is, how do you make guys relate? How do you make guys connect their physical skills to their mind? And if they can do that, you're gonna be pretty damn good, pretty damn good. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I wanted to come on and talk about for a little bit. Was Beavers called up, well deserved. And one thing I want to say that I'd like to see more of is when guys play well, rewarding your farm system for their accomplishments. And I know you go out and get some guys off waivers and you bring other guys in. It's a part of the game. But there is something to be said about your position players getting the chance right now. Pitchers wise, bullpen, this is why the bullpen can be strung together very quickly and be effective. I mean, Dietrich Enns was on no one's radar, right? And he gets claimed, brought over for this stretch run. He's been sensational, right? Happened a few years ago with Jacob Webb. Angels DFA him. The Orioles claim him. He's a big part of the bullpen. CNL Perez had those moments. Dylan Tate back in the day with the Orioles, he had a great year before the injuries. So, the bullpen, it's just, you can mix and match and the guys can put it together. Danny Coulombe, who's just been in fuego, but it took him a while to get to that level of Danny Coulombe that people have seen over the last 3 years. So it's all about, it's all about trying to connect it. And also to say this about, with Rodgers in general, about connecting the mind with your talent. Rodgers had so many injuries since 2021 when he was a all-star and almost a rookie of the year. And then the combination of injuries and then the mental toll that the injuries have, plus you got to still figure out how to get guys out at the big league level. It started to add up. He lost confidence, but he didn't lose skill, in my opinion. He just lost his way on being the most effective pitcher he could be. And then look what he's doing right now. Over the last 2 months, Trevor Rodgers, this is not even embellishing this. This is the facts. Trevor Rodgers has been the best starting pitcher over the last 2 months. Qualified starters on the season this year, Paul Skeens has a 2.13 ERA that leads baseball. Trevor Rodgers has a 1.43 in his 11, 12 starts or whatever he has this year. So almost if you're going to say a pitcher gets 30 starts in an MLB season, maybe 33, he's almost halfway there, and he's at that ERA. He has been that damn good. And if I'm the Orioles, I would try to press. He'd be one of my priorities to extend. And a lot of other Oriole fans, I know they don't feel that way. I would look to find a way to extend Dean Kramer down the road too, because again, the words here, ceiling. The thing that's holding Dean back is the consistency, but the ceiling is what he did his last few outings. Is he can go deep into a game. He can dominate a lineup. And you don't do that unless you have the talent to do that. So consistency for Dean. Consistency. But by the way, ERA, he's got the 40th best ERA for qualified starters in all of baseball. And there's 150 slots in the starting rotation. If you're going around five starters per team, he's a lot better than people want to give credit to him for. So, it's a when you're talking about building up a team right now, Dean Kramer and having Kyle Bradish get healthy and Trevor Rogers, that's a good 3 right there. Then you see what happens here with Povich and Young, but then you're going to be aggressive in the offseason because you can't have enough pitching. You cannot have enough pitching, and that'll be that. That'll be that. But yeah, if you guys new to the channel, like and subscribe. Impromptu, just standing up here having a little conversation because I know this move just happened. But Dylan Beavers, there's not a ton to talk about besides that he got called up in those moments. I really wanted to answer the questions because now it's just a sitting and waiting. See how he does. Enjoy it. And above all, he's living out a dream right now. So the nerves in the first game are going to be there. He's excited. Yeah, maybe he hits a homer in his first game, or maybe he goes over. It's a moment coming true. But how a guy does in the first few games, it's not going to make a difference. What he does in the first month is not going to make or break him. Most guys, it might take a while to figure things out. But the biggest thing for him is now you've earned the right. And with earning the right, you deserve to go out there and play. And that'll be that. That'll be that. Yeah, anything else you guys want to talk about before I call it? I got to get on with the rest of my Saturday. Well, and Trizzle, hey, how you doing, by the way? Yeah, Kobe Mayo, this is why you got to play him. One of the best pure power guys that they have, and a guy that needs to learn how to play first and needs to build confidence. Like, this is what we're talking about, the farm system, by the way, is if you're not spending out there and you're not going to bring in all these guys, you got to give these certain guys an opportunity to sink or swim. So Kobe's getting a full runway here, and you can let him try to figure it out as he goes, which I think is great. I'm excited. I'm excited. Yeah. Kenny, appreciate it. Every Friday on the Fan, 12 to 2, I'll be on. I'll be on here obviously, and then for our Shirts and Pants members, and I'll open it up to all channel members maybe once or twice a month for the Rip After Darks. But that's where, imagine this, but it gets a little bit more explicit, a little bit more off the rails, or a lot more off the rails. And that's for our Holy Shirts and Pants members. So if you guys want to be a channel member, click that join button. Appreciate you guys. Gives a little bit more of the intimate moment here. Kind of like things like this, but imagine, a wild Rocco DeSangro might show up, and then we just really, it goes to a different type of conversation, for better or for worse. That is, that's all I got to say about. That's all I got to say about that. The Glenn Davis trade. Oh, we're going through the throwbacks. Actually thinking about throwbacks, I'm going to put out a video when we had Omar Vizquel on. And maybe that was talked about in something recently as well. That, again, can't tell you guys about it yet. And about Omar Vizquel and the bunt in the 97 ALCS that he said he didn't touch. And the ball got away, and the Cleveland won that game, ended on winning the series. So, yeah. All right. This has been good. Ollie, come here. Let's say goodbye real quickly. Come here. Ollie, come. Come on. Ollie, people want to say goodbye. People want to say goodbye real quickly. Come on. Ollie, come here. There he is. Come here. Oh, there he is. There's my guy. There he is. Oh, he's gotten big. He has gotten big. He's a big baby. Big baby. Maybe we just hang out. There it is. I think people might like Ollie more than they like me. But I mean, that makes complete sense. He's the cutest golden retriever, voted best studio pup every single year. It's unbelievable. There he is. He's chilling. All right. Should we call it a show, buddy? That's priceless. You're a good boy, buddy. You are a good boy. All right, guys. Yeah, you guys can screenshot that for me. That'd be great. But yeah, hit that like and subscribe button. I think Zach might be going live for Kevin and Zach React to talk a little bit more about things. But this was an opportunity where we could talk. So you guys be good. Have a day, have a night, have a great stinking Saturday. And we'll be back later on to talk more ball. Football season's right around the corner here, guys. So we're going to really deep dive into a bunch of football. Don't hate me for it for all the baseball fans. We will still have baseball, but we got to get ready for the football season. All right? Be good, be safe, and cheers.